Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
Kansas City, cold, brutal, 20 degrees and howling winds. From Swope Soccer Village, it's Sporting Kansas City 2 and Des Moines Menace. Call them the 2015 MLS All-Stars. Call them whatever you want. This Menace team, menacing enough with Devin Kerr-Mike-Watts. Happy to have you along for this first round game in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Devin, this should be a fun one. Anyone can set up a roster any type of way, but if you're going to get to October 1st, you got to handle your business here. It is a pro team from MLS Next Pro against an amateur team made up of former pros.
32 games in the first round. Every single game is pro versus amateur. Now, the pros last night seemed to have a little fun with it, but this Des Moines Menace team on the quote-unquote amateur side, we'll get there in a second. Pretty sure they have other ideas of moving on.
Let's talk about this Sporting KC2 team first, though. They've been together throughout the preseason. They're 2 games into the MLS Next Pro campaign. Welcome to the Open Cup in a city that's known for the Open Cup.
Well, the MLS franchise itself actually has is tied for the most Open Cups in modern era. There is a pride aspect to this for Istvan Urbani and what the group understands, what they need to do. Certainly a couple first-teamers that have come in to help them in their process.
Conversely, Des Moines Menace, all eyes on Dax, on Sasha, on BWP. But maybe we should talk about the most capped member of the MLS 360 crew.
Good luck, guys. Let's go, my guys. Get the win. Dax, BWP, Sash, Ozzy. If you don't win, don't come home. We don't do losers. When you're not first, you're last. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Kaylin Kyle. And what a way to start. It is Des Moines Menace taking on Sporting Kansas City 2. And it is maybe the most sought-after first-round game of this year's Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Well, let's enjoy it, shall we, Devin? I think you and I started to see the roster come together, and last year was a real joy seeing some retired pros get back out on the pitch, and it feels like Sasha Kleshchin leading the way has gone out and recruited all of his friends.
It's an absurd lineup, to be fair. All jokes aside about all-stars or not. I don't care if they retired yesterday or 5 years ago. The idea that you're going to be able to pair Fellhaber, Kleshchin, McCarty, and Ozzy Alonso all into the same midfield, something that dreams are made of.
Well, that's a feeling I understand. It's been chanted at me once or twice before. It is a significant wind that Des Moines will have to play into in this first half, and the ball driven away by Carvalho. Thrown in by Samways. As far as Quintero. Back from Merrim. And a throw for Kansas City, too. Missed the playoffs by 2 points last year in Next Pro. Only been to the playoffs once since 2018 in totality.
Oh, I don't know the last time I laughed on air, and I do apologize for that, but the peanut gallery has taken over and is making sure that any ounce of culture that is available at their disposal tonight is making its way to the field in the form of verbal assaults.
When they chanted, "We see your bald spot," that didn't do anything for you?
Fortunately enough, the flow is quite kind on my end. Look at the win, though. I mean, that was one of the biggest takeaways I had when we got an opportunity to chat with all the coaches about what this was going to look like earlier. Charlie Latshaw, and he said, "Listen, man, I can talk to you about tactics, difference in age, where I'm going to move guys around on the field, but it's still going to be around 20 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour gusts. That's difficult for anybody to handle at any level."
Samways. Ball touched back toward Alexandre and struck from distance wide. Not a bad effort at all.
A nice little pivot by Dax McCarty to actually break this up right atop the box. Still great understanding of where he needs to be, unfortunately for him. Beautiful step up by Chantret within the midfield. Their captain, Cello. 3 games running now. The average age between the two floating around online. I'm sure you saw it. 20.36 years of age for the Sporting Kansas, 20.81 for the Sporting Kansas City 2 boys. 35.36 for the boys donning the menacing red.
Here's a question. I'm going to need to see a therapist after this game, based on these chants.
If he can tackle Messi, he can tackle you.
Samways. Here's Bartlett. Notably, no Ian James for Kansas City tonight, away with the U.S. under-17s. They made a change in goal as well. Ryan Shaway did play 14 games a year ago, but Jack Kortkamp started the first 2 games this year. The 17-year-old unavailable for selection tonight.
And certainly can't forget about Jacob Bartlett onto the bat line. Peter Vermees already the utilization of him in the midfield at the 6th spot. Drops into the center back position next to Natty Clark. Certainly be one of the more experienced ones. Homegrown back in 2025. Was certainly involved in the second team for a few years now. And you're looking for familiarity right now, Mike. You know, the idea if you're wearing a Menace jersey that you're going to be able to maintain possession. More importantly, they want overloads. They want to try and work off the 4v3s, 3v2s, and quick little touches, spread this team around. Sporting Kansas City, too. It's got to be about opening up in transition and making these guys run.
Quintero. Marum sprinting down into the corner. Edged off by Alexandre. Alexandre playing across. And a corner. Swope Soccer Village, SKC2 in a former life, known as the Swope Park Rangers because of this home venue. That was in their USL Championship days, and then making the move over at the advent of MLS Next Pro. Had a lot more success in those early days. Multiple USL Championship final appearances. Ball across the face. Skims over top. Unfortunately, they're calling for shots, but the average age of this Kansas City 2 team is unable to oblige. Corner coming for KC2. Keep your eye on number 10 in the middle of your screen. He probably already knows the play. This returns toward Bradley Wright Phillips, picked up by Merrim. Say that because Benny Feilhaber was the coach of this team for the last 3 years. Left Sporting Kansas City too. Makes the move over to Des Moines for this game. And while the roster is not all that similar to last year necessarily, a chance for some former players to potentially put a good two-footed tackle into their former manager.
Felt like there was a little bit more on the broadcast call than normal talking to Istvan Urbani. Wasn't overly happy about the fact that the former leader and guiding light now on the other side of the field. Although, to be fair, last year, Roger Espinoza crossed enemy lines. He, of course, hadn't recently been employed at the club, at least not as a coach of that team for a few years. He's now with the first team. Assistant for you, Mike, just to be clear.
Indeed.
Look at all the sandbags on top of the benches just to keep it down. And the wind, obviously.
Apollo's got a pretty good leg. That's not going to be the best look going into this constant wind. A shove from Bartlett, who's trying to deal with a multiple-time MLS Golden Boot winner up front in Bradley Wright Phillips. Ozzy Alonso had tremendous success in this tournament, both in Seattle and in his one-year stint in Charleston. Playing for Des Moines, but owning a small portion of the team in Spokane in this event. Conflict of interest? Not for at least a couple of rounds. Shove into the back of question. Feilhaber, not the only former Kansas City player involved in this game. If you look down the Des Moines bench, you'll find Felipe Hernandez as well. The former New York Red Bull Bradley Wright Phillips sees this skid away. Comes to Merrim. Feilhaber.
One wonders how much inspiration was provided by the local watering hole prior to this match.
Just enough, it appears. Anthony Samways, second-round pick, former Columbus Crew Academy player who ended up at Ohio State.
The Crew, too, absolutely dismantling their opponent this evening. Started a little bit earlier than some of the other kickoffs tonight. It was 3-0 after about 60 minutes of play.
There's Clark. The Bob Gansler Academy Player of the Year back in 2023 for SKC. Slipped through Alexandre. Kansas City getting plenty of the ball, plenty of the play to this 11-minute margin.
That's a good ball. Bartlett overran it a little bit. Any favorites that you've enjoyed watching so far? Possibly last night. I know you were on the call for a couple. Plenty on the roster tonight. Lexington, first-year USL Championship team, taking on Southern Indiana. Inter Miami too. Miami United, they're calling it the Dale Derby, so obviously I'm here for that.
There are two Naples teams. FC Naples,
That
the
was
expansion team, and then the amateur side.
Yep, FC Naples, of course, taking down Sarasota Paradise 2-1. Miami FC disposing of Naples United 4-1. Again, the results that we saw last night certainly favoring most of the professional organizations over the years. The amateur teams, to be able to squeak through to round 2, have started to slim themselves. 8-1-2 professional teams were in the opening round of the U.S. Open Cup. Those two draws, by the way, both pro teams moving on via penalties.
Clark. Bartlett. The average age tells a pretty compelling narrative about the disparate ways of approaching the Open Cup. Kansas City, too, does have the right to bring down supplemental players off the MLS roster. That's not the route they went. And if you look at Des Moines compared to yesterday, it was New York Shockers in Albany chatting with me about it. Is this knockdown in toward the end line? You and I had West. Chester United last year, they didn't go about it that way, of bringing in these superstar players. Whether or not they were connected to the community, it was more an effort to try and maintain as much continuity as they could, knowing that they couldn't bring college players in while the spring semester was ongoing.
I was just about to say, head coach Charlie Latshaw III was very clear that he wasn't forced into this situation. Double-digit players already signed in contract for that summer session that you just referenced, Mike, but that doesn't do them any good right now. And certainly the idea that some of these boys, whether recently departing the game or not, would have an opportunity to go and enjoy it, yet alone together. Kind of referenced it as hurting 12-year-olds in training. He said that he had to get them to settle down, commit to 1 hour, and they could have their own kickabout.
Dev, this is a goalkeeper you're pretty familiar with.
Anzar Carvalho, under the tutelage of Mark Hubbard at NC State, split time last year, did really well for himself in the ACC run of play. That's a good ball.
Edged out by De La Garza. Started 8 games, undefeated, 5-0-2, Carvalho.
He's also part of that new breed of player that we're seeing frequent Division I so much, where they are those junior college or D2 transfers. Lucas Rosa on the Des Moines Menace team on that far side at the wingback position. Another one, National Junior College Player of the Year back in 2021 before his transfer to the ACC and Pitt Panthers under Jay Vidovich. Certainly a lot of the Blue Bloods back in the day will have a really good idea of what I'm talking about. Of course, Dax McCarty, Tar Heel. Just happened about 20 years prior,
right.
2005, the last time that we saw that young man before he became the number 6 overall pick for FC Dallas.
After that time at DC, Red Bull, Chicago, Nashville, Atlanta. Another corner, only one shot in this game through nearly 17 minutes. Maybe room to run onto that. Instead, Alexandre steps in front. Got bodied off by Failhaber. Alexandre played 14 games for the skipper last year. Scored 3 goals.
Look, whether or not, SKC2 have done very well for themselves. Clean on the ball, good side-to-side movement. Certainly with Mother Nature at their backs, they're more than willing to test some of the directivity of play. And the one thing that you would say if you're head coach Istvan Urbani 17 minutes in is Want to make sure that you get something out of this, considering when you turn it and then all of a sudden you're going to have to face the gale forces coming the other way.
When he spoke to us yesterday, he almost apologized. He goes, I don't know if this is the best metaphor I could use.
I thought it was incredible.
I agree with you. He goes, it's like going into a casino with $10 and hoping that it lasts you a couple hours. At least be entertained by it, right? As opposed to when you and I find our way there, we enter with 100 and are gone in 10 minutes. This comes to Samways. Point being, Kansas City, in theory, this is house money. What an opportunity it is. This ball in front, denied, and then the shot ripped off frame by Uteritz. The trialist signee who spent time in Tacoma and with Rapids 2 the last couple of years.
Not the same 11 once again. Again, they're still trying to get guys into this group, but that's really good ball movement. And even on the clearance that comes right down Route 1. Good moving into the corner, the cutback, and unfortunate they're not able to get anything on frame, but about this group, they're still trying to clear visas. They've got international players that haven't been able to find the right travel arrangements so far, and it's taken some time. Where they're actually supposed to go to pick up said documentation, easy to say that the effort and intensity is be good, but he does expect a little bit more from his possession-based side, and goal-scoring opportunities they have to create more. Well, he's gotten that 20 minutes in, right? Not the highest quality of chances, but good ball movement. Certainly testing the Menace.
Won't stay on the spot. You would imagine that Enzo Carvalho, when he left his native Brazil to play at Mid-America Nazarene, eventually at North Carolina State, only dreamed of playing in conditions like this. To be fair, conditions like this, actually a little bit worse. What's barreling toward KC now has postponed the Union Omaha game that was scheduled to be played tomorrow.
And both Union Omaha and Flatirons FC will have to wait about 24 hours more to be able to get that game in, as it's been pushed to Friday.
Long run, too long a run for Samways.
I'm sure the weather will be a little bit different later when we're on LAFC 2 and FC Arizona.
Yes, I hope.
I'm just here for the crowd.
40 yards. Plenty of fun Open Cup debuts, 26 in totality. This ball knocked across. In a very literal sense, Sporting Kansas City 2 is new to this event. Of course, Kansas City in the Open Cup at the MLS level has won 4 times, 4, 12, 15, and 17. Bartlett hits it from range.
Well, not only have we seen a version of this Menace team before, certainly last year making waves when Sasha Klushkin started the recruiting trail with his band of merry men to try and progress themselves further into the Open Cup. Justin Merrim was with the Michigan Stars last year. Of course, the year prior, finishing his MLS career with Charlotte FC in 2023.
I have to think Merrim a lot happier not to play in a smoky, dark, stinky place, as described by...
Was that 2022?
Yeah.
He said that?
The
owner.
Michigan Stars owner describing Detroit City, unfortunately. Turning here, Kumbale. Samways chasing still. Clark trying to keep it alive. Help to do so. Uteritz. Uteritz across. His dad Scott played for the KC Wizards over 4 years at the advent of MLS. Awesome.
You know, normally I'm the first one to bow out of conditions like this, broadcasting in person. Given what's going on in the field, there are a few places that I would rather be than pitch side right now with a fold-up table next to you. This would be a blast.
It would.
Only stipulation would be certainly engagement with the fans.
Yes.
You with the fluffy coat down in front.
Quintero.
They're fighting the elements right now. Menace. I mean, it is. Look at the flag down in the corner. How hard that thing's blowing.
I don't know, Dev. That looks like something between 20 and 30 miles an hour worth of tug. Question. Trying to combine with Wright Phillips. Wright Phillips calling everyone up to come join him in the pressure now. Ozzy Alonso's won this event 4 times. Victor Jaw won it in Dallas. Justin Miram in 2019, part of the Atlanta United team that won it.
Took down Minnesota United that year. Friendly reminder for the overall format. The rest of the MLS teams, like an Austin FC, a Houston Dynamo.
Dynamo, of course, having come off winning the title against Inter Miami a couple of years ago.
All 16 of them will enter in round 4. 8 USL Championship teams have entered round 1. The other 16 will follow up in round 3. Of course, 64 total teams doing battle in the opening round. All first round games, amateur pro. Also the first time in the modern era, Mike, dating back to 1996, that we will not have the defending champion with the opportunity to chase their crown. Of course, LAFC opting for CONCACAF Champions Cup. The 2 squad, led by Junior Gonzalez, will do it in their stead. Good ball.
Question into Bradley Wright Phillips. Swings past Failhaber. Making the run down the right-hand side. Ball flicked along by Shewe. And the first really good look for Des Moines in this game.
I tell you, if it wasn't for Mother Nature, these boys can still move the ball. No question about that whatsoever. Taking the better portion of a half hour in order to progress themselves this high, but very clean. Once again, the beautiful technique that has been instilled in them for generations and certainly what could be to come through their family trees.
Go, go, go!
Matt Hedges still has it, which is good news because he's one of the players that is not retired involved in this game for Des Moines.
Did you read the article Boger put out?
I saw the tweet.
Yeah, it was, that's enough.
Yeah. Don't tell him that. No. Matt Hedges would very much like to be back on an MLS roster. Former MLS Defender of the Year. I'm in Dallas, Toronto, Austin, and a handful of caps with the U.S. national team. Stint that began a decade ago. Quintero plays back.
That's a great ball by Bartlett. I've been very impressed with him. He's so young. 2005 player. First team experience, CONCACAF Champions Cup, and I love his vision. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and he's constantly surveying. So whether he's bumps up into the midfield, moving on to that back four next to Natty Clark, if you just watch him, always surveying the full landscape of the field.
Did you say 2005?
He's a 2005.
That is the year A.J. De La Garza got to the University of Maryland.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was leaning into.
Mm-hmm. Another corner for Kansas City. Whiffed upon and now struck off the back of Ozzy Alonso.
I'd hit it if I was them too. He can hit it for sure. He's got a cannon of a foot.
You've got the wind at your back as well.
For sure. We saw the ridiculous finish that was Traore for Phoenix Rising on the weekend against Paso Locomotive in their crazy 4-4 fair. He hit it from the parking lot.
Quintero. That pass italicized like the numbers on the back of these MLS Next Pro jerseys. I feel like I'm hearing the Cauldron, just that they've only mic'd a couple. Little back set there from Miram. To have any environments that you can speak to in past Open Cup coverage that really stands out to you? This feels pretty unique to me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I feel like the Richmond Kickers, a couple years ago we had them, and it was a very similar sort of vibrant, creative atmosphere out of the supporters' end.
Well, I got to tell you, what was the El Farolito game? That
Against
was a
Las
fun one.
Vegas Legends?
No, but the next match.
Ah.
When Jermaine Jones was the manager.
Right. Central Valley.
Oh, that was interesting on the sidelines, we'll put it. Any favorites for you? If I went league by league, you know, we haven't mentioned the Union. Certainly they've gotten off to a great start in MLS play. There's the turnaround that is Bruce Arena with the Quakes.
I mean, in the MLS level as well, sometimes when it's not going well in the league, you focus more on the cup competition anyway. So
Revolution,
a team like the Revs,
yeah, it'd be perfect for them, absolutely. Megs?
Timbers coming off what was a hard-earned point, but only a point over the weekend. Maybe something to be said there. No one can score against St. Louis City either. Not that Kansas City fans want to hear about that.
Alonso Martinez has finally bagged a few for New York City. No longer allowed to use the former abbreviation of their name. It's faux pas.
Big NYC fan over here. Samways. Wrong ways.
Good defending by Meram. What's funny, you know, Charlie Lashaw III talked about trying to find ways to, even if compounded into a corner, work off of each other in strength with numbers, but they're doing a really good job, supporting Kansas City too, of closing them down in those tight-knit areas.
Well, toward right, Phillips got sliced out by Quintero. And Des Moines Menace, like molasses, angle up the field against a stiff wind. There's a lot of people, I think, right now that are probably watching this game going, well, Des Moines didn't come to play. I think they're playing into a 30-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, just pay attention. Pretty sure Dorothy and the Wizard are in the background going through the parking lot.
I mean, Charlie Latshaw indicated to you, let's get to halftime, see where these guys are at. And if they find out that they'll have the wind at their back in the second half, I wonder if that may, no pun intended, put some wind in their sails.
Well, the bigger concern would be is how much effort they're going to have to expend to get to that 45-minute mark. That was certainly a concern. And look, they're all pros. They'll keep their heads locked in. It's how much do they really have in the tank?
Bartlett. Quintero. Here's Bartlett again. Quintero slips through, jump step didn't play. Here's Klestion. McCarty going long. A familiar trio, Klestion, McCarty, and Bradley Wright Phillips. I have to give immense appreciation to Kalen Kyle for absolutely slaying the pregame video. We don't do losers. Don't come back if you don't win.
Just having flashbacks to leaving my house earlier.
Wright Phillips commits the foul. From Ozzie Alonso.
It's a little shove from behind. How do you do by Ngumbale? It does make you a little bit frustrated with the weather. This would be super fun if there was, I mean, it still is enjoyable, but imagine if you weren't able to hang a sail and pull yourself across the field right now.
Do sort of feel this isn't one of our mountaintop teams like your Switchbacks or your Real Monarchs where it's like it'll pull you off a mountainside, but it is gusty.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks suffering their first loss in USL Championship play, the 2024 USL Championship title winner.
To be fair, they haven't had the best run in Open Cups past either. Now Quintero, return to sender. Klestion plays aside. Didn't get to Failhaber. Samways. Works on Merrim. Quintero. Mbale. Uteritz off the crossbar. That had a ton of knuckle on it. Comes out to Cristiano. Alexandre.
That's a foul.
Shantret. Yes, it is a foul. A free kick.
He's got the right positioning here too, BWP. The shot first though, bent perfectly. Head up, no one closes him down, recognizes that he's got the wind at his back, and Beckham has a go right there. He did such a good job, Bradley Wright Phillips, of closing him down just a little bit too much on the back end of it all. Now an absolute nightmare for Enzo Carvalho. Almost makes you wonder if you work with misdirection, come around it, given that everybody would think that you're dedicating to a direct strike at goal. Look at the back post. Eddie Clark just sneaking right in.
6 in the wall. They do their job. Sits up and rolled outside. Clark.
It could possibly be on the ground. Okay, I'll find it.
Sent away by Dax McCarty. 24th career Open Cup game for Dax. 3rd most appearances in MLS history. Over 19 years. Ball headed along and lifted up and over. Carvalho did just enough. Not a bad direction from Shane Donovan.
A couple now.
Nice
bit of momentum, and yeah, Justin Merrill on the near post, nearly. Tickles the nylon unnecessarily.
Corner whipped in, hits off the bar again. And the wind is wreaking havoc here. You think we have VAR for this tournament? They're chanting for VAR. The video review is this.
Well, we had it. We had to turn in the budget for the sandbags to keep the benches down. Look at the ball. Still going. Might as well put Energizer batteries in it.
They're going to find it in Chattanooga.
Cleverly taken.
With FC or Red Wolves, I don't know. Quintero steered up to question. The hold-up play from Wright Phillips. And Fehlhaber goes down. 4 years as a coach in Kansas City, 3 leading KC2. Twice an Open Cup winner with Sporting. His 19th appearance in the Open Cup. 5 goals previous. Dax on the move.
Dax still got an engine. He does not look like he's hit any sort of off season. Although if you follow him on social media, he'll tell you different. He's put up some great videos leading into this match.
Clark. Referee looking to give advantage. Gumbale, Samways.
They're just trying to get themselves into the dressing room right now. Which is to say, the pop-up in the corner.
Oh, yikes.
The tent. Yep.
Yep.
Good news is the walk isn't far.
That's the good news. Wright Phillips. Be able to flip the field here. Can we stop with the follicle jokes?
Sound like we're at a Hartford Athletic game last night.
The bonanza is merciless. The genuine shock at the free kick. That's great, comma, actually. I'm here for this, I really am. I believe I was with you, the great 2017 USL Championship playoff 2-day bonanza. The match that was postponed midway through and finished the following morning.
What game was that?
Phoenix Rising and Swope Park Rangers.
Oh, I was on that game. Yeah.
Indeed. That ended in penalties, if that gives you any idea of what may be in front of us tonight. We've got good memories here. Failhaber just found out what it's like to leave a club and play against them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They went to penalties in the next round as well against OKC.
Sounds right. And then ultimately fell to Louisville City in the final. Some cool moments last night. AV Alta, their first ever home game and home win. Portland Hearts of Pine bringing the Open Cup to the state of Maine this year in the jersey that Patrick Dempsey is helping to make famous.
The only upset on the night of the Amateur versus Pros, 4-0. And their foray into what would be a professional environment, taking down Texoma FC. That is a dangerous ball with the weather.
Gobbled up in front of Alexandre by Carvalho.
Favorite name of the amateur teams? You know, Miami United's in there. Just thought maybe the United tickled your fancy.
I can tell you I'm rooting for Asheville City, given everything that's gone on there.
Fair.
I mean, the Long Island Rough Riders has a special place in my heart. The Fighting John Wallnacks. Ball comes up to Failhaber.
Pictured you for a Corpus Christi guy.
And that's where you're wrong.
Maybe the boys from Motown. Had them a couple of times over the years.
Yeah. I know Birmingham Legion is trying to deal with Little Rock Rangers tonight. Chatting with one of our colleagues who said that Rangers call was one of the more enjoyable coach call experiences he's had.
They're locked in.
They're rocked in. Alexandre. Well, a shiver just hit Des Moines. 3 added minutes has been announced.
3 minutes extra time. 3 minutes at a time. Yes, because we might see it. No, this extra time.
Was it Tulsa time for you yesterday? The Derby, Tulsa
I got to tell you, I
Athletic,
thought Tulsa Athletic was going to down FC Tulsa. They did it in 2023. Nearly got themselves over the line again last night, if not for an 85th minute penalty.
Luke Spencer's team in all competitions is now 3-0-0 under his tutelage.
It's incredible math for you at this stage in the season.
That won't be forgotten. You'll have 20 minutes in the freezing cold to think of more old jokes.
This team moves into the next round. Either one of them, to be fair. I'm starting to GoFundMe.
Yeah.
What do you need? 2 plane tickets, no hotel rooms, 2 plastic chairs, and a fold-up table.
The rain really starting to come down now. You want to start a GoFundMe for them, but you just talked about ignoring Tom Bogert's paywall.
I didn't say anything about ignoring a paywall.
just looking at tweets instead of reading stories?
Exactly.
The least you can do is start a GoFundMe and get yourself a subscription.
Making an impression.
The wrong one.
Look at that ball. I mean, that is one of the most, that's a foul. That is one of the most frustrating things as a player. You cannot figure out what the path is going to be.
And And that's a tough knock suffered in the hands of Justin Merrim.
Again, look at it, drops 4 yards after it jumps up off the pitch. I really thought these young men might have had one in the bag in the first half, and certainly the second 45 minutes will be interesting, not just because of the change of field position, but the amount that the elders have had to expend going the other way.
I think the supporters have become sentient and realized that we knocked them for running out of old jokes. They just announced that they have more. Ulloa, Hedges, who did not sign up for this.
He's got space.
Quintero.
Good tackle.
Oh, not such a good tackle, it turns out.
How many times you let Benny take people out?
Benny with the Jets out here.
I gotta tell you. Well, that tackle was good, to be fair. In from behind, certainly. I thought he caught up to him, though, and nope, that's foul. It looked a little different in real time.
I thought you were onto something.
Even a blind squirrel.
They're all new guys.
Not all new guys. Who said that?
There's only 4 people left from last year.
That's not true at all.
I read anyhow.
Oh, you wonder if they're going to be willing to try and go direct again. Last one went directly into the wall on the ground, and I told you, Mike, with so much space, thought maybe they might try and move around it. This would be a good opportunity right there. Give it to him. Good recognition by Justin Merrim.
Should be the last kick of the, last kick of the half. If you wait for 5 minutes, the ball could just roll into the net on its own. Uteritz sends that for goal, sends it above the bar, and sends us to halftime. Scintillating stuff at the break, Dev. It is halftime here at the venerable Swope Soccer Village, and still no breakthrough. At halftime, it is Sporting Kansas City 2-0, Des Moines Menace 0.
Tonight's Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Round 1 match must have a winner. Will determine the winner. Central Bank is the official jersey front partner of Sporting KCC and the official checking account partner of Sporting Kansas City. Go to sportingchecking.com or visit any of your local Central Bank branches to learn more.
I was in Austin at the time, so I didn't go to that game.
Attention football fans, it's time to turn back the clock and look forward to the future of the game. Adidas is proud to unveil the new Predator Victory, where heritage meets innovation. Sporting Kansas City 2's next home match is on April 9th at Children's Mercy Victory Field against Minnesota United 2. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. Tickets are available online at SeatGeek.com.
Oh yeah. Like I think that would be if he can avoid the charge. Also, I think he got it. So he likes to yeah, no. But it should be.
Central Bank is the official Jersey Fund partner of Sporting KC2 and the official checking account partner of Sporting KC. Go to sportingchecking.com or visit any of your local Central Bank branches to learn more. And join us for Sporting Kansas City's next MLS home match this Saturday, March 22nd, when Sporting KC takes on LAFC. Tickets are available online at SeatGeek.com. We'll see you at Children's Merchant Park. And tonight's Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Round 1 match must have a winner. If tonight's match is tied after 90 minutes, it will go into two 15-minute extra time halves, played in their entirety. If the match remains tied after extra time, a best-of-5 penalty kick shootout will determine the winner.
No, it's accurate.
Yeah. That's why I
Listen, we can laugh at it. You're 100% honest. I would say they're closer to it as a yeah, I would say that like the depth is closer to white people. At least in the chicken. All I can was good. That deep flavor they had. Good have fun. What up? Come here and chat with us. Chat with us. It's cold and we're not winning, but we had our best shot. It's good.
problem is, it didn't really have wind in there. If this was the same temperature with the same amount of wind, I would probably buy. Because out here it has wind. And then you have the
I'm intimidated. You're not. Like, I seem to give the fuck out. We're definitely not winning. You're not going to end up winning. No, absolutely not.
I agree.
Let's go that way.
Welcome back to the 2025 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, the opening round, day 2 of this opening match day of America's tournament with Devin Kerr, Mike Watson, a cavalcade of MLS retirees taking on Sporting Kansas City 2. It is scoreless at halftime. Devin, there are so many highlights, we could barely stuff them all into one tape, but we're going to try our absolute best.
Well, certainly the better run of chances in the first half were by Sporting Kansas City, too. Got to start off by their captain, Chelo Tesanchet. I love the way that he had his head up, constantly trying to find goal there. And obviously, they mostly came from distance, but quickly found out that they weren't willing to shy away from a challenge. That was the first one. Second one was a little bit further into the parking lot. Souvenir for the fans behind the goal. Number 3, Gumbale. Good run right under the top of the 6. Excellent follow-up, though. And the one thing that you could say about the way that the ball was bouncing in the first half, it was very kind to the home squad. Another strike from distance. Uteritz, he would have 2 more with about 10 minutes to go. One of which would come off the crossbar. Second one from the corner, nearly. But Caravaggio was kind enough to parry it aside. This one just before halftime. 0-0 after 45 minutes of play.
Plenty of action yesterday in the rear view in this Open Cup opening round. Sarasota put up a spirited fight against expansion League One side FC Naples. Regrettably, Asheville out to Greenville triumph in penalties. Motown falls to Westchester SC as opposed to Westchester United. New Jersey Alliance in penalties squeaking by Chattanooga Red Wolves. All the while, there's the aforementioned West Chester United, who led Loudoun United but ultimately fell 3-2. 4-0 the lone upset. Laguna United drubbed by Ventura County as opposed to Ventura County Fusion. Put up a good fight against AV Alta, equalized late in the first half, but ultimately fell 3-1. Sporting Kansas City 2, much like Columbus, FC Cincinnati, Seattle, LA Galaxy. They've all got great Open Cup histories. It's their two teams involved in this edition of the tournament. FC Cincinnati 2 coming from the lower divisions as they did when they captured America's heart through this tournament prior to joining MLS. There are a couple of teams from Next Pro with independent nature like Carolina Core involved in this event as well. Everyone from League One entering in this round, a third of the championship are entering in this round. And underway in the second half of play. What a time to be alive, to see this collection of immense talent get back on the field and now have the wind at their back to actually try and mount a victory here in the first round and advance to the second round, which is played April 1st and 2nd against the Kansas City 2 team that, by all accounts, you listen to the coaching staff, this is an opportunity. They had Ike Apara, assistant coach for SKC, to speak a little bit about having played against some of these Des Moines Menace players in the past in MLS. But for a lot of these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, you grew up watching a lot of these guys come play at Children's Mercy Park.
Yeah, went a bit broader in terms of what their ambition was for the picture tonight, and giving 90 minutes, certainly most important. What a touch this is.
And turned aside. Shea turns away Lucas Rosa, who's one of the players perhaps less known, but Dev, a player you're quite high on.
Certainly shouldn't be unfamiliar when it comes to the American soccer landscape. Mentioned the junior college experience before. ACC, one of the best and brightest in all of college soccer. A little bit surprised that he hasn't made his way onto a professional roster just yet. And of course, when we talk about development, whether it's the opportunity for youngsters like homegrowns Lucas Bartlett, who's back and forth with the first team and the second team, East Fenerbahce overseeing that project. Some of the youngers like Quintero or Donovan trying to cultivate that experience. And
Uteritz across, ball knocked away. Carvalho had Alexandre waiting. And Merrim brings it away for Des Moines.
Some of the guys that are on these amateur teams directly, and how many times have you and I been involved in this tournament? And the pro level players, though not the experience nor opportunity, get picked up from moments such as this. Right, development's certainly a big talking point for both of these teams. One of the most storied amateur clubs in the history of the U.S. soccer pyramid at Des Moines Menace, and certainly at the pro level, Sporting Kansas City 2, churning out tons of talent over the years, nearly with the opener just now.
Alexandre grew up in Canada, born in Miami, featured the Montreal Academy, 90 in blue tonight.
Good ball movement.
Pierre Leroux came in at halftime for Sporting Kansas City 2. This hit from distance, and again Carvalho not only collects, but crashes with ball in tow. Not a Clark there at the end.
personal offense at that chant. I'm pretty sure it's directed at me when it comes to the bedtime shenanigans.
It's also Central Time. It's 7:45, guys. Who's asleep now?
Carrying coffee for a reason.
When your knee feels better, would you join Des Moines? I felt bad. You know, Casey Keller did this beautiful video for us, but he wasn't invited to be a part of the team.
Urbani was a little bit upset about the nose up as well.
Played for Des Moines, albeit by his own admission briefly. Speaks highly of the experience there, but sounded like even as the manager of the opponent, he at least wanted to be asked.
His exact wording was, I was there 200 years ago.
Yeah, that was well put.
Still, referencing the Sporting Kansas City 2 coach.
Really enjoyed chatting with him. He's been heavily involved in the Kansas City soccer scene for the better part of 15 years.
I'll tell you the one thing that I enjoyed the most was when he was referencing the level of this competition to the development of players. When he stepped into the Sporting Kansas City organization back in 2014, assistant coach of the first team, was also involved with the 16s and 18s, and they had problems where those age groups, 4 to 6 players, weren't getting enough playing time. So they were trying to solve the issue at that point in time where they were above what would be their age group at a different level, right? The academy level. They had surpassed that. And so they were trying to find a way to get games, and they looked around and said, you know, were there any Sunday leagues around here? Well, nothing on the 7th day when most people were resting.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, though, became a big day, so much so that what a tackle that is from Fellhaber.
And lays this off. McCarty unloads. Question in, right, Phillips back. McCarty deflects into the air. Sheway is there. Yeah, Monday nights, it turns out, is the best night to go play against grown men in the Kansas City area.
Yeah, so they got them an opportunity, and after 3 weeks, those young men, all they wanted to do was play on Monday night. it was their World Cup every single week. Instead of U18 competition, it was not only an opportunity for them to play, but a much bigger challenge because the level was higher. Certainly related to that in my early 20s when I was trying to get picked up with pro organizations. I mentioned to East Van that I played in a men's league that had MLS players that were, we'll say, on their way out. Tenure for sure. Guys like Stevie Ralston, Ivan McKinley made their way down into the South Florida area, and I felt the same way. You know, trained all week long, and our Tuesday night games were super fun. It was actually how I got linked up with my first Open Cup team in the Palm Beach Pumas. We had played them in a scrimmage, and they said maybe step away from Father Time for a little bit and come join the Golden Age. I said, sure, let's have some fun.
Cerro trying to play inside. Ball comes out to Benny Feilhaber. Got away from Lucas Rosa. Notably on the bench for Des Moines, Lonnie Toya, Cade Hagan, former top prospect in the collegiate ranks, who's dealt with plenty of injuries over the years. Cristiano crossing. Alexandre drops to Shantrit. Felipe Hernandez, the former Sporting Kansas City player. Mikey Ambrose. It's part of the 2019 Atlanta United team that took home the Open Cup. They're beginning to harmonize.
Rumor has it a pallet of recorders made their way in at halftime.
Please.
I asked for a searing rendition of Yankee Doodle Dandy. Not necessarily sure the crowd mics are going to be able to pick it up.
Hopefully it's like a dog whistle in the sense that I won't be able to hear it.
Pretty much what you say every time you step on the mic with me. I got to tell you, while certainly the wind has died down a little bit, still very strong, very impressed with Sporting Kansas City too.
Ball through Wright Phillips. Bradley Wright Phillips was offside.
Well, right on cue, coming the other direction. Commentators curse in full effect. They've certainly done a much better job than Des Moines did in the first half of keeping the ball on the deck. Really clean decision making by these young men. Again, we've talked about Jacob Bartlett, certainly seen our fair share of Tashantrit in the midfield. Shane Donovan has worked his way into the picture quite a few times, and Alexandre up top has done a really good job in the 9 spot of just keeping those 2 center backs at bay, opening up space underneath.
Squared off to Bartlett. Continued down from Uteritz and runs out beyond Cristiano. Dev, you peek down the lower divisions, the 16 MLS teams will jump in the round of 32. We've seen some impressive runs in recent years. Sacramento Republic, of course, going all the way to the final. Pittsburgh to the quarterfinals. New Mexico making a run to the quarterfinals in Minnesota a couple years ago. Who in the championship stands out as maybe a team or two to keep an eye on once the remaining 16 join in the round 2 windows forward the middle of April? Is Wright Phillips. This drops kindly. Ball through, appeal for a penalty, play on. Feilhaber, and now the referees come in from behind and giving Des Moines the chance to grab the advantage.
Kleshin right over to pick it up as he'll go 12 yards out. How's the pressure by BWP over the shoulder? And look at Feilhaber just exploding right through the middle. Beautiful touch. It's not the one out in front of him. It's the one off his right foot that brings it back across his body. It baits Jacob Bartlett into it. Unfortunately for him, just a bit too slow to get back over. And an opportunity now for Des Moines Menace to finally get a shot on frame.
21 for 28, according to Transfer Market. Kleshin last had a penalty saved in 2018. Kleshin against Sheway, right down the middle, scores with venom. Sasha Kleshin captaining the Des Moines Menace into the lead in the 57th minute.
And go back to the foul once again. Bradley Wright Phillips, pressure on both center backs, separation between the two. Pierre Leroux had rotated back in, and unfortunately for them, it was a great step through by Benny Feilhaber. Pushed the narrative a bit further, touch back across, taken down, Kleshin up. And no doubt whatsoever that he's been through that movement once or twice in his life, showing the class certainly does never leave.
The 39-year-old shrugging off the AARP chant from the support in KC and bashing home the go-ahead goal from the spot. This Des Moines team has 4 of the 8 oldest registered players and 6 of the 15 oldest. There are 33 80s kids that are registered to play in the first round of this tournament, and 7 of them are on the Des Moines roster. AJ De La Garza, the shove.
You know, just prior, you asked my opinion on who I thought from the championship might not only have an opportunity, but the will to challenge such a feat of making a deep run into the Open Cup. Last year, we saw expansion team Rhode Island FC push themselves all the way to the Eastern Conference final, win that title, and then fall just short against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. What a brand boost that would be for them nationally to get involved in the Open Cup conversation. I like what Danny Stone, in terms of organization and depth, has been able to do at Orange County Soccer Club. Wonders if their ambition in the Open Cup rivals. Maybe what we saw a few years ago from the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That was the fun, wide open, 2017, 2018 teams that were star-studded in their own right, albeit at the professional level. Indy 11. Sean McCauley certainly have the capability and experience within their group. Or is it maybe the depth of the vault that you have to challenge a bit further? The last team to win the treble, only one of 3 to ever do so. Regular season conference winners, and then of course USL Championship title winners in San Antonio FC. Fully revolutionized their squad, playing style and technical area. Somoza has made his way there.
So far so good, couple wins to
they
start
look
there.
good. I like them.
Angling for space, Donovan. And from Bartlett, real compact moment for Des Moines at the hour mark. Patient moment from Kansas City. Side that the MLS level entered in the round of 32 last year. Knocked out Omaha, Tulsa, and Dallas, Indy, before falling in extra time to LAFC. Surely a trophy that Olivier Giroud will hold close to his heart for a lifetime. Scored in that final. Campos and Kamara scored in extra time to help LAFC hoist the trophy.
Now these young men got to fight the elements a little bit further. Notice the shape coming deeper. Not really varying overall in nature just yet. An expectation put forth, and can you play quickly just like that?
Cristiano. Intervention from De La Garza.
They just got to keep it moving. That's the biggest thing here. Don't be shy from the fact that you have less space to play with. You're actually going to have more. It's just got to come horizontal. The vertical threat's more difficult to deal with. They've done really well for themselves playing side to side.
Uteritz across. Quintero was there at the back post. Covered by Leroux. DeChantret. DeChantret couldn't break through. Appeal for a foul, no advantage. A yellow card, a free kick. Looks like Ozzy picks up the card.
I gotta tell you, this is one of the more difficult ones because everybody at home is gonna see it against the wind, and certainly it's difficult because it takes some of the pace off the ball. It's also fun as a ball striker because it makes the ball move more. So you're coming into it, but you can get more action on it the way that you try to attack it. Usually you try and fight the natural curve of the wind, which certainly looks to be straight across the field, although possibly pushing to that far side towards the assistant referee. Benefits a left footer coming back across the body. You can carry more momentum on the ball. A right footer has to then fight the natural tendency of the wind. And as mentioned, still a big favor here of trying to get cute with it. Ball on the deck, move it. Certainly in the conditions, much more difficult to react in real time.
Have to appreciate Sasha Kleshin agreeing to stand squarely in the middle of this wall.
It's the best spot to be in. You're on the end, you got to chase. Just hold steadfast and pray.
Donovan could try to hook this with his right foot. That's a lot of unmarked blue jerseys on the backside. Donovan! Not quite.
Well, he certainly held the goalkeeper. He wasn't sure if they were going short or not. If that's in on that near touchline, there's no chance whatsoever that Carvalho is going to be able to get to it. Just a little bit of the wind fighting it back, Mike. What has been a very impressive second half, understanding that, yes, they've certainly given up that precious goal, but Sporting Kansas City too has done well with it.
Here comes a change. Kawa coming in out of UNC Greensboro. 12 total goal contributions for the 22-year-old Japanese player. Ozzy Alonso on that yellow card comes out. Retired in January last year. Signed his one-day contract in Seattle in February. Suppose that's when the papers officially went in. This really enticing here for Kansas City. It's an equalizer. It's Beckham Uteritz. He scored Sporting KC2's only goal in their opening 2 games of the league season, and he's got the equalizer tonight.
And the biggest fear was this turning into transitional moments for Des Moines Menace, and this ball right there, the way that he undercuts it, gets it to drop right in front of him. Good first touch. Second one even better, right around him, and look at the numbers committed to the attack for Sporting Kansas City too. Said at the beginning of the first half how well Shane Donovan had done for himself to get himself in advanced positions. 6 separate options approaching the top of the 18. And the lead by Kleshton nullified by the home squad.
And you can see Leroy Nzegusi is in as well. He was the super sub for Des Moines last year. Been a part now of the Menace over 3 years. And a Sporting Kansas City youth. Ended up at Drake. Bradley Wright Phillips has come off at this point. They may need the orange ball in Omaha, but at least for now, it looks like it won't be an issue tonight here in Kansas City. Although that wind is just brutal. Even trying to get the ball to sit for the corner is becoming difficult. Ball curled across, knocked down at the goal line. Nzegusi was looking at it, ultimately skitters away from Hedges.
Well, it looks like you can put another cup set in the books as Virginia Dream.
Without Bill Hamid.
Without Bill Hamid, who is now with Miami FC, have taken down the Richmond Kickers 3-1. An interesting little change to the rules, we might add, that this year you could actually compete with the team during the qualifying rounds and then change to another team, not be cup tied, and compete for them in tournament proper. Bill Hamid, of course, was goalkeeper with Virginia Dream, now employing his trade in the USL Championship with Miami FC. Just the one cup set yesterday that we mentioned for over Texana. Plenty, 13 matches on the night overall for some of the amateurs to get in. Enter San Francisco and Monterey Bay. Could be a fun one. Ballard, Spokane.
Yeah, that's fun.
Certainly.
They've had some great players over the years come through that Ballard program.
We could go full Mingo and witness forward Madison against Duluth. Charlotte Independence and the Rough Riders, and the Pancyprian Freedoms against MLS Next Pro Cincinnati 2. Got to be your personal favorite.
Big Pancyprian Freedom fan.
Yeah, jerseys in the mail.
Yep. Handful of lopsided results. Knoxville knocking out Appalachian FC 3-0. Southern Indiana trailing by 4 to Lexington.
The touch.
Is there a go-ahead here for Kansas City? This ball across, smothered by Carvalho. like Carvalho is
A yellow card caution has been issued to Sporting Kansas City 2, number 90, Becky Alexandre.
Alexandre
70th minute.
got the yellow.
Why is that a yellow?
I don't know.
Stand up, I can hear you.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Kansas City flying forward. Uteritz there again. Uteritz unloads. That takes a deflection off of A.J. De La Garza. And a quick restart.
I thought maybe he might try and step on this to allow the overlap to come through. Again, so good. Sporting Kansas City too, as this game has gone on at committing numbers coming forward. Cristiano in your foreground previously.
Continuing Alexandre. 20 minutes to go, and Des Moines is up against the ropes. They may have the wind at their back, but they are running right into a Kansas City buzzsaw.
Good idea.
Bartlett.
I feel like if I take off my shoes to put on the warmer, it's going to be warm.
That was right at you, wasn't it? Donovan.
Joke's on them. I got none left.
You don't have any cartilage in your knee, no.
Surgery a month ago made sure of that.
But I found out you had the Greg Oden surgery. I'm like, ruh-roh.
Yeah. Opted for the third row. Clark, yeah. Appreciate you bringing the Sky Cam in.
Friday was warmer.
Our viewfinder's gone.
But Friday was warmer.
Kansas City's talking about the warmest day of the year relative to when Messi and Miami came. They may actually be onto something.
They were definitely below zero on a CONCACAF Champions Cup match that was delayed by about 26 hours.
And Zagusi knocked down. Ref had a long look. Points to the spot.
Anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me?
They were all saying that he was in an offside position. Certainly it was before that. There's most definitely contact over the back shoulder.
Hello, anybody hear me?
So question essentially went right down the middle, waist high, and sent Shea the other way.
That got nothing to do with me.
Scored from the spot in the 57th.
Trying to help. Yeah, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Now comes mental warfare.
I'm here all by myself.
Question scores! Des Moines lead again.
Go back to the replay. Still don't necessarily think I agree with the offside call, but certainly a great step forward there by Ryan Zagusi. Explosion in behind, plays the angles game in. Contact initiated, most certainly have to point to the spot if you're the referee. And Sasha Klushchin kept the goalkeeper guessing, really held him in his tracks and is aggressive in nature, coming high and right down the middle.
Two subs waiting, and what a way to go out for Sasha Klushchin. He's spoken about his love for the Open Cup, the excitement of being a part of this. Benny Feilhaber comes off as well. He's the turncoat of this game, unfortunately. And here comes Felipe Hernandez for Des Moines. Top 5 in SKC2 appearances, although not currently eligible to feature in Major League Soccer. Cristiano here.
And the hope for head coach Des Moines Menace, Charlie Ladishaw, was that they would get to this point, have about 10 or 15 minutes to go, so that they would be able to change shape a little bit, drop deeper, and knows that they would have to suffer, but that the youngsters and their fresh legs would be able to see them over the end line. And he got what he wished for.
Still right there with a quarter hour to play.
Now the problem is I feel like the overall quality of level has definitely gone up for Sporting Kansas City 2 as the game has gone on.
I'm shooting through my eyepiece. I'm sorry, guys. This is just ridiculous. I know. I don't know what's happening to my viewfinder, but it's fine.
Johan Ortiz over the ball. Committed to play at the University of Portland this coming fall. Ortiz. Askew. You know, I love that Klushchin's taken such a enormous. This is a passion project.
Yep.
The playing, sure, but the recruiting and getting everyone involved. The guy that came up with Chivas USA, went over to Belgium for a number of years, Red Bull, Orlando, and LA Galaxy. He goes out and gets guys like Merrim, who played in Charlotte a couple of years ago, and Matt Hedges, who still has interest in playing, went through Austin. Guys like Ulloa and Alonso and Benny Feilhaber, and of course in the MLS 360 studios, convincing Dax McCarty and Bradley Wright Phillips to come give 60 to 90 minutes.
Well, all jokes aside, I don't think it's any stretch of the truth, Mike, to think that what we have in the modern era, this is probably the most talented, at least in terms of resume,
right,
amateur squad that we've ever seen put together. And that's not a knock on any other squads that have come through here.
No, but there's legitimately thousands of first division appearances, dozens of trophies accumulated by this roster of amateurs.
At every level on the field.
Right.
100%. And that's the beauty of the tournament, though, right? You've got seasoned vets that, according to the peanut gallery, are carrying their canes in order to try and find a way to get a result. You've got youngsters in development in Sporting Kansas City, too. You've got second and third division teams like North Carolina FC, Oakland Roots, One Knoxville, who are trying to fight their way into the beginning of their domestic season while also rounding out a cup competition. And then the amateurs, like a Des Moines Menace, like a Soda City, upstarts in international San Francisco, who feel like this could be their year alongside a Harpos FC, that they could be the golden generation. They go two games, they go 3 games. The Christos of years prior, Cal FC, a decade and a half ago. Chip in a chair, as Istvan Urbaniak, head coach of Sporting Kansas City 2, would say.
You mentioned Inter San Francisco. They play later tonight against Monterey Bay. El Farolito holding the Burrito Boys against Real Monarchs. Little Rock has taken a lead over Birmingham early in the second half. Harpos, you mentioned, playing against El Paso. That game scoreless in the opening quarter hour.
When is Washington Athletic Club's game?
I just love that there's no effort in trying to make that like a unique
Something
name.
other than it is.
No, it is precisely what it is. They see Tacoma tomorrow.
That would be whack, Mike.
What are you doing, Lucas?
It's a fair point. A little help from the wind. This goes all the way down. All the while, it's quite the week in U.S. soccer. USL announcing the upcoming implementation of promotion relegation. The Oakland Roots are going to have over 20,000 fans at their game at the Coliseum over the weekend. MLS about a month into their season, battling in Champions Cup. Change coming here. Kyle Owen coming in, a former Western Illinois Leatherneck.
That is the departure of Open Cup legend
Ozzy Alonso. Yeah.
Who knew he could leave the game twice?
Yeah.
Right. Part of the shape change that sees them drop into 4 and runs out the left side a little bit. How many times in that 2020-2021 edition? Unfortunately, we didn't have the Open Cup that year, but similar method of recruiting pros with such great pedigree. Mike Jeffries, former MLS and Open Cup great, did it with the Charlotte Independents. Gabriel Oberton, the Manchester United great, was in there. Sylvain Marveaux, Christian Fuchs, and upstart Charlotte FC were about to begin their season in MLS. He was then one of their first signed players, sent on loan.
Ball played square. Alexandre rolls it dangerously in front. McCarty trying to deal with that still. And blasted away now. Wow, that's confirmation I didn't anticipate getting. They're not drunk. They're built different in Kansas City, aren't they?
I mean, it takes something special to look at the flags.
Yeah.
20 degrees.
You're looking at the flags. I mean, look under the lights.
Yeah. The ball doesn't seem to be floating as much, though, as it did in the first half. Again, I think SKC2 has done a much better job of keeping the ball on the deck, and right now they're just trying to find a way to push in behind end-to-end stuff.
By the way, when I said looking under the lights, I mean,
you felt like it was Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad jokes are noted.
Okay. And a stoppage here, an injured Kansas City player.
We're not in South Georgia with the Tormenta anymore, Michael.
This is a different kind of Tormenta.
I mean, my God. Blow your freaking whistle.
I mentioned Open Cup dreams for the amateurs and the Menace. That is a, in behind, head-to-head. Going to be a cause for concern. How about Portland Hearts of Pine, their debut? Upstart club with CD Filens, the Bay State Soccer League in Massachusetts. Interesting route for some of these teams. Also part of the USASA, like West Chester United, who over the past 5 iterations of this tournament have actually qualified in 3 different leagues.
Wow.
To be able to represent at the amateur level.
You know, I mean, Blaze is going to get his boys in. You know it. Blaze Santangelo is one of American soccer's.
Those guys, the FC Motown guys,
yeah,
love seeing them every single year.
They are thick as thieves, and I love it.
Powerhouses.
They are going to make a change here. Uteritz is coming off. And that is Carter Dirksen, who was born in North Carolina, moved to Missouri when he was young, grew up in Lee's Summit. Dirksen was probably in North Carolina just long enough to see the Railhawks, the age of 17. I think I'm...
It's a Martin Rennie shout out.
That is now North Carolina FC,
Great ball
of course.
movement on the cutback.
Here comes Kansas City, slipping into the penalty area. That denied. Dirksen immediately to the fore. And Zagusi playing over. The run out is on here for Akawa. Akawa taking space.
Oh, just keep it. Well done. That's a beautiful step on the end of the field in the box, by the way, by Dax McCarty.
Launched into the berm. Kansas City would like to go quickly. The precipitation is only getting worse now. Ball played to the top of the area. Cristiano. Not Carvalho.
And then go back to this step by Dax McCarty. Just such a great understanding of the game. Look at the way that he just slides back over. Doesn't have to leave his feet. I told their head coach, Trey Ladishaw III, one of my favorite things about this team was not just the fact that they had picked up so many legends in American soccer, but the opportunity for Dax McCarty to come back into the tournament. Was on the call last year for their quarterfinal loss. He was then employing his trade with Atlanta United. Indy 11 had gone up in the 31st minute. We were at Kennesaw State for that game. The own goal in the 83rd minute proved to be the game winner, and that own goal came off of Dax McCarty. It gave Indy at that point in time a 2-0 lead. You never want to see any player in that situation, yet alone someone who's been a staple of the pyramid for such a long period of time. So it was really cool, even though they drew a goal back late by Nick Firmino, to be able to see them finish that off and then get Dax McCarty an opportunity to step back in the tournament, keep his head held high.
Ball ahead, Alexandre. Corner for Kansas City. Time is beginning to run out. Playing against their former head coach, Benny Feilhaber. Benny and the Vets. Six of the 15 most experienced in this tournament are playing for this Des Moines team. Contact referee instantly says no. And Zagusi able to turn. Spots Akawa. Stymied only momentarily. And taken out. That is worth its weight in gold for Des Moines.
They've done a really good job down the tail end of this match of maintaining possession up high. Certainly Yoshi Okawa, Chris Rich, UNCG, Storied program in Division I that has seen quite the plethora of players over the past couple of years step into the professional ranks. JC Ngondo, on loan last year with the Lights, Vancouver Whitecaps, and the incredible start that they've had in MLS play.
Okawa, well, they decide not to retain possession, and Kansas City has a matter of minutes to try and steal a goal here and send this game to extra time. 5 added minutes. Cristiano sought the give and go. And Zagusi, full sprint, could try and take this to goal. And he will try and take it to goal. And Zagusi. That deflected. It's a corner, and in some ways he's let off the hook.
I thought maybe he could have done better and held this up just a bit further. Held some time down in the corner. It's basically Nsagusi and Okawa that are left with the brunt of efforts up top as this game reaches the dying embers.
Clean win of the ball. Well, Kansas City has to get numbers forward and fast. Because the only thing better than 90 minutes of this would be 120. Clark. Cristiano. Corner, we think. Yeah. Taken short. And a letdown with 3 minutes to go. I like the work they've done on the airport in Kansas City, but I don't know that I'd be chanting for it.
I mean, the limestone they've added is pretty impressive.
It really is.
Yeah, big fan of the renovation on the Sky Club as well.
They've done a good job with that. It's right next to the Auntie Anne's, which is critical if you're of a certain weight class like me.
I will.
And then the moving walkways with the vaulted ceilings when you leave that initial departures area is delightful. And Zagusi splaying down Sheway.
The chant of "That's still your airport" is an interesting take.
I just don't entirely get it. I appreciate it. Shouldn't they be chanting Des Moines Airport?
I was under the impression it was still an international airport and in use.
It's not? They're never going to hear this. They might. There's an archive. Thanks for making tonight great. This is really what it's about. There's going to be games that have thousands of fans at it in this round. Don't drop the commentators' names. Our appreciation of the fans that are coming out across this first round. This is all pros versus amateurs. In this case, it's kind of a mixed bag. But by all accounts, what this event deserves. Ball rolled across. Cleared. Room here for Cristiano. We're into the final minute of stoppage time. Whisked across into the hands of Carvalho. Turns away Ortiz, and that may be the last gasp for Kansas City. Post-game, Devin is going to break down all the highlights from this game, I'm sure. Good effort tonight by the artist formerly known as Swole Park Rangers. SKC2 putting up quite a fight. Had some really bright moments too, but Des Moines is seconds away from advancing after, as described by the fans, defeating their kids. Ball comes out to Ortiz. Is there any time left here for Kansas City? Free kick. That ball kicked away. We've gone the 5 minutes. There's the yellow card, and you wonder if the referee is going to let this play out. Well, this is it. Closing time. Now or never. Driving inside. Cristiano. That's cleared. Out to the halfway line. Nzagousi in behind. Nzagousi denied. Sheaway. And still we go on. We've gone 6 minutes now. A referee that loves Open Cup after dark. Clearly. Ortiz. That's it. It's full time. And Des Moines Menace advance. Father Time is defeated. 2-1. Question the brace. And Des Moines will do it all again in 2 weeks' time in the second round. And the old men are moving on. Benny and the vets. Sasha and friends. Des Moines 2, KC 2-1.
The first half certainly favored Sporting Kansas City 2, but with the wind change and the momentum and all the excitement by Des Moines Menace breaking through in the second half, Sasha Kleshin in the 57th minute after great pressure by Bradley Wright Phillips, good step by Benny Fellhaver, and they were literally off and running. But opportunities would come aplenty for the youngsters. Beckham Uteritz, great step through in the midfield. They moved so eloquently side to side. 6 different opportunities for them in the second half. 6 different options on that play got them to 1-1, but in the 74th minute, another penalty down in the corner. Great speed by Nzagousi. Got around the outside, taken down, clutched him with the brace. 1 at the final whistle to try and distance the scoreline a bit further. That conversation will not change. 28 shots is an interesting take in the final stats. I can tell you that much. 2 big takeaways for me. Certainly very fun with the Des Moines Menace, right? All the great names that we saw and continue to see at some level in American soccer on display with the amateur squad. Sporting Kansas City and that organization, from Peter Vermees's team up top through the twos down into the academy, every single year continue to pump out talent. Love what I saw out of Jacob Bartlett. It was great watching Shane Donovan and Tashantra in the midfield. They have a ton of talent that I'm sure will continue to push the threshold of that club higher and higher over the years. Tonight, they just fall a bit short.
And so that concludes coverage of this game. Devin had plenty of fun with it. If you're listening closely, you heard all 96 teams involved in this tournament and all the leagues. God, I love this event. For Devin Kerr, our entire team, and that poor cameraman, Mike Watts, saying, thanks for watching the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Des Moines Menace knock out Kansas City 2, 2-1. Good night.